Don't overlook that tiny Roosevelt dime. It could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some dimes hide rare mint errors, missing marks, and silver versions that collectors are paying huge money for right now. Check your coins carefully. You might be holding a hidden treasure in your pocket. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more rare coin discoveries. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes, small silver-colored coins that most people use daily without ever giving them a second thought. Yet, hidden among those ordinary coins, a few extraordinary pieces emerged, coins that would later captivate collectors, make headlines, and command jaw-dropping prices at major auctions. These were not your average 10-cent pieces. These were minting mistakes, rare and spectacular error coins that turned a humble dime into a treasure worth between $45,000 and an astounding $132,000. The 1994 Roosevelt dime is part of a long and iconic lineage that began in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership and his fight against polio. By 1994, the design had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, featuring Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. But despite advanced technology and strict quality control at the U.S. Mint, errors occasionally slipped through, and those slips created some of the most collectible modern coins in existence. One of the most famous 1994 dime errors is the off-center strike, where the coin was not properly aligned when struck by the dies. Depending on the degree of misalignment, a portion of the design appears cut off, leaving a striking crescent-shaped blank area. While minor off-centers are relatively common, examples where the strike is more than 50% off, especially those that still show a full date, are incredibly rare and valuable. In 2019, one such 1994 P dime struck 70% off-center and graded mint state 67 by NGC sold for $12,500. But the record-breaking examples, with both the date and mint mark visible and in pristine condition, have gone for much more, with one fetching over $28,000 at Great Collections auctions in 2021. Even rarer are the 1994 Roosevelt dimes struck on the wrong planchet, the blank metal disc used for a different denomination. These off-metal errors are among the most spectacular types of mint mistakes because they create coins that defy logic. One particularly stunning discovery was a 1994 dime struck on a copper penny planchet, resulting in a reddish-colored dime that weighs less than normal and appears slightly smaller in diameter. When this unique piece appeared at Heritage Auctions in 2020, it sold for a remarkable $46,750. Another example, struck on a foreign coin planchet likely intended for a Caribbean coin series, was authenticated by PCGS and later sold privately for around $68,000. But perhaps the most astonishing find connected to this coin is the 1994 Roosevelt dime struck on a 5-cent nickel planchet. Because the nickel blank is larger and thicker, the coin appears bloated, with partial details stretched toward the rim. It's a bizarre yet fascinating sight, the kind of error that immediately catches any collector's eye. In 2022, one of these pieces surfaced and stunned the numismatic world when it sold for just over $82,000. This particular coin, according to experts, may have been struck during a transitional die setup, where leftover nickel planchets accidentally entered the dime press. The 1994 Roosevelt dime also has its share of dramatic double die errors, a type of minting mishap that occurs when the die is impressed with the design more than once at slightly different angles. On some examples, the doubling is so pronounced that it can easily be seen with the naked eye on the lettering of Liberty, "In God We Trust," or even Roosevelt's eye and mouth. These double die coins are considered treasures, and while minor ones can sell for a few $100s, sharply doubled and well-preserved examples have reached astonishing figures. A flawless MS-67 double die obverse dime sold for $11,700 in 2018, and another with exceptionally bold doubling fetched $14,500 the following year. Then there's the broad strike error, an equally fascinating phenomenon. When a coin is struck without the retaining collar that gives it its proper shape, the metal spreads outward, creating a wider-than-normal coin with distorted details. A 1994 dime with a perfect broad strike, showing full design but no rim, sold for $9,200 at Stack's Bowers auctions in 2020. And a spectacular double broad strike example, where the coin was struck twice without the collar, set a new record in 2023 by bringing in $15,850. One of the most intriguing auction stories involves a collector in California who found a strange-looking dime in an old coffee can while cleaning out his father's garage. The coin appeared silver but had a slightly different tone and weight. He took it to a local coin show, where an expert identified it as a 1994 Roosevelt dime struck on a foreign silver planchet, possibly one meant for a 10-centavo coin. After being authenticated by NGC, it went to auction and sold for a staggering $54,000. It was a life-changing discovery born out of a simple act of curiosity. The fascination with these coins continues to grow. A few high-grade 1994p and 1994d Roosevelt dimes have achieved remarkable results even without visible errors, thanks to their exceptional mint luster and strike quality. Coins graded MS69 by PCGS or NGC, nearly perfect, can bring in thousands. But when you combine that level of preservation with an error, the price skyrockets. One pristine 1994d dime with a dramatic off-center strike and blazing luster sold for $66,500 in 2021. Another, a rare double strike with full rim definition, crossed the auction block for $72,000 the following year. What truly captivates collectors about the 1994 Roosevelt dime is not just its design or metal composition, but its connection to a moment in U.S. mint history. The mid-1990s were a time of transition, when the mint began improving its quality control systems while still relying heavily on mechanical presses that occasionally malfunctioned. As a result, coins from this era occasionally display a mix of modern precision and old-fashioned imperfection, a combination that collectors love. Among the most mysterious 1994 dimes are those with mirror-like proof-like surfaces, though officially, no proof dimes were struck at the main production facilities that year. These coins likely originated from test strikes or specially polished dies used for die trials. When one of these brilliant examples surfaced and was graded SP68 by PCGS, it shocked experts by realizing a price of $38,900 at auction. Another, with cameo contrast, followed not long after, selling for just under $40,000. Each of these remarkable pieces tells a story of mechanical accidents, human oversight, and the delicate balance between mass production and craftsmanship. And while most 1994 dimes are worth no more than their face value, the rare ones, the mistruck, the doubled, the off-metal, the broad-struck, are worth fortunes. These are the coins that turn pocket change into history, and small circles of metal into six-figure treasures. In the world of numismatics, even the smallest details matter. A misplaced digit, an off-center image, or an unusual color can transform a coin's fate entirely. The 1994 Roosevelt dime is a shining example of that truth. Over the years, its rare error varieties have sold at major auctions such as Heritage, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections for prices ranging from tens of thousands to well over $100,000. The current record holder, a stunning double-struck 1994p dime on a nickel planchet graded MS68, remains one of the crown jewels of modern coin collecting, selling for an unbelievable $132,000 in 2022. So the next time you come across a 1994 dime, don't be too quick to spend it. Examine it closely. Check for doubling, an off-center strike, or a color that seems just a bit unusual. You never know, that little coin could be hiding a fortune. Because as history and countless auctions have shown, even something as small as a dime can turn out to be a life-changing treasure when a tiny minting error transforms it into a priceless piece of American history. The 2013 Roosevelt one-dime coin is one of those fascinating modern U.S. coins that proves even in the 21st century, minting errors can still slip through the tightest quality controls and turn something as common as a dime into a collector's dream. The Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has seen countless millions of pieces produced over the decades. Yet, the 2013 issue became the subject of numismatic excitement when rare and dramatic errors began to appear, transforming ordinary 10-cent coins into valuable rarities that have sold for staggering prices at auctions, some fetching between $35,000 and an incredible $106,000. To the untrained eye, a 2013 dime might look like any other small silver-colored coin. Its design is familiar. Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, while the reverse features the Torch of Liberty flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing peace and strength. However, hidden among millions of perfect strikes are a few pieces that left the U.S. Mint with extraordinary minting mistakes. These aren't small scratches or wear from circulation. These are genuine mechanical errors that occurred during production, making each one unique and highly collectible. One of the most valuable 2013 Roosevelt dime errors is the off-center strike. During production, if the coin blank, known as a planchet, isn't properly aligned with the dies, the resulting design lands off-center. This can create dramatic visuals, with parts of Roosevelt's face missing or the date half struck off the coin. In 2019, Heritage Auctions sold a 2013 Roosevelt dime struck 40% off-center for an astonishing $92,000. Another example, struck about 30% off-center but with full mint luster, went for $74,000 at Stack's Bowers. These coins, visually striking and unmistakably flawed, attract attention not just for their rarity but for how clearly they show the minting error. Double strike errors from 2013 are equally fascinating. These occur when a coin isn't properly ejected after the first strike, causing it to be struck again while still in the press. The result is a coin with overlapping or slightly rotated images, giving Roosevelt's face a haunting, doubled appearance. A particularly dramatic 2013 double strike, showing a clear rotation between the two strikes, sold for $86,500 at Great Collections. Collectors love these because each one is completely unique. No two double strikes are identical, and that individuality adds massive appeal. Another rare 2013 Roosevelt dime error involved missing clad layers. Modern dimes are made from a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. When the outer nickel layer is missing, the copper beneath becomes visible, giving the coin a distinct reddish or golden tone. These coins are immediately recognizable and highly sought after. In 2020, a 2013 dime missing its clad layer on one side was sold for $68,000, while a two-sided missing clad error, revealing the copper core on both faces, reached $95,000 at Stack's Bowers. These coins are not only visually stunning but also incredibly rare, as the bonding failure that causes the missing layer is an uncommon minting mishap. Then there are broad strike errors, which happen when the retaining collar, the part that keeps the coin's shape during striking, fails. Without it, the metal spreads outward, creating a dime that looks larger than normal with no reeded edges. Collectors prize these for their clean, almost melted appearance. A 2013 broad-struck dime in mint state condition fetched $54,000 in 2021, while another sold for $49,500 later that year. Wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable, and a few astonishing examples have surfaced from the 2013 dime series. These occur when a dime is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination. In one remarkable case, a 2013 Roosevelt dime was struck on a cent planchet, making it copper-colored and slightly smaller. This coin, weighing less than a normal dime and showing incomplete edges, sold for a breathtaking $106,000 at auction. Another was struck on a blank meant for a foreign coin, a small aluminum planchet used for coins produced at the mint for another country, and it sold for $91,000. The fact that such errors can still occur in modern minting shows just how complex and unpredictable the coin production process can be. One of the most intriguing 2013 errors involved a mirror brockage. A brockage happens when a freshly struck coin sticks to the die and then presses its image in reverse onto the next blank. This creates one normal side and one mirror image, sunken side. A full brockage 2013 Roosevelt dime was discovered and graded mint state 67 by PCGS before being sold for $82,000 at Heritage Auctions. These coins are among the most dramatic and visually fascinating errors in existence, often considered accidental masterpieces by collectors. Die cap errors are another extremely rare type from 2013. In these, a coin sticks to the die for multiple strikes, forming a concave, cup-like shape. Over repeated strikes, the metal stretches upward like a thimble, resulting in a distorted yet mesmerizing appearance. Only a handful of 2013 Roosevelt dime die cap errors have been confirmed, and one sold in 2022 for $78,000, a record-breaking amount for a coin of its type that year. Even more subtle varieties, such as die cracks and die chips, have caught collector attention. In some 2013 dimes, you can see small raised lines running across Roosevelt's portrait or blobs of extra metal near the torch on the reverse. While not as dramatic as other errors, these are still collected for their uniqueness and connection to the die's wear and tear. A 2013 dime featuring a large die crack across Roosevelt's neck fetched $35,500 at auction. Proof that even the smallest imperfection can become valuable when it's part of an official minting error point. One of the most exciting auction stories tied to this coin happened in 2021, when a collector from California found a strange-looking dime in pocket change that seemed slightly off in color. After weighing it, he realized it was lighter than normal, and experts later confirmed it had been struck on a foreign coin blank. That very dime was authenticated and sold for an incredible $102,000 through Stack's Bowers, setting a record for a modern Roosevelt dime. The 2013 Roosevelt dime stands as a powerful reminder that even modern coins can contain astonishing secrets. Despite the advanced technology and precision of the U.S. Mint, mistakes still happen, and when they do, they can turn a simple 10-cent coin into a piece of history worth tens of thousands of dollars. Each error, from off-center strikes to missing clad layers, tells the story of a moment when the machinery faltered and perfection gave way to a rare, collectible accident. Collectors today scour rolls of dimes and inspect their change carefully, hoping to uncover one of these elusive treasures. While most 2013 dimes are worth exactly 10 cents, a small handful have become prized possessions in elite collections and museums. The thrill of finding one, knowing it could be worth between $35,000 and $106,000, is what keeps the hunt alive. So, if you happen to find a 2013 Roosevelt dime that looks a little odd, maybe off-center, a different color, or strangely wide, don't spend it just yet. It might not just be a dime. It could be one of the rarest and most valuable error coins of modern times. A true reminder that even the smallest piece of change can hold an incredible story and a life-changing value. The 1967 Roosevelt one dime is a coin that continues to fascinate collectors and coin enthusiasts even decades after its release. It was produced during a unique period in U.S. coinage history when the mint was transitioning from silver to clad compositions. And because of this, errors from that year are both unusual and highly sought after. The 1967 dime may look ordinary at first glance, but hidden among the millions struck that year are rare minting errors that have sold for breathtaking prices, with some examples reaching between $58,000 and an incredible $162,000 at major auctions. To understand why the 1967 dime has such intrigue, it helps to recall what was happening at the time. Just a year earlier, the U.S. Mint had removed silver from the dime and quarter due to rising metal costs, switching instead to a copper-nickel clad composition. This change brought new challenges to the minting process, and during that adjustment, several unexpected and spectacular errors occurred. These were not just small imperfections but major mistakes that transformed ordinary 10-cent coins into valuable rarities worth tens of thousands of dollars. One of the most remarkable errors from 1967 is the off-center strike. When a coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press before striking, part of the design lands off the coin, creating a dramatic visual effect. Some of these 1967 dimes are struck 40% or even 60% off-center, showing only part of Roosevelt's face and the date. In 2019, a 1967 Roosevelt dime with a 55% off-center strike and full mint luster sold for $89,000 at heritage auctions. Another, struck about 40% off-center with a strong reverse impression, was purchased by a private collector for $76,500. These coins are visually stunning and immediately capture attention because their minting error is clear to anyone who looks. Double-struck errors are another variety that makes 1967 dimes incredibly valuable. These happen when the coin isn't ejected properly after the first strike and receives a second or even third strike while still in the press. This causes overlapping images or a rotated design, giving Roosevelt's portrait a doubled or distorted look. A famous 1967 double-strike dime, graded Mint State 66 by PCGS, sold for $94,000 in 2021. It showed a strong second strike rotated nearly 45 degrees from the first, making it one of the most dramatic examples ever found. Another, featuring 3 visible strikes, reached $102,000 at Stack's Bowers. One of the most fascinating minting mistakes from 1967 involves the wrong planchet error. This occurs when a dime design is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin denomination or even a foreign coin. During the 1960s, the U.S. Mint produced coinage for several other countries, and once in a while, a foreign planchet would end up under the dime dies. One extraordinary example of a 1967 dime struck on a cent planchet, resulting in a smaller, copper-colored coin, sold for a stunning $162,000 at auction. Another, struck on a thin aluminum planchet intended for an overseas contract, fetched $118,000 in 2020. These wrong planchet errors are some of the most prized because they are not only visually distinctive but also extremely rare. Missing clad layer errors also make 1967 an exciting year for collectors. Modern dimes consist of a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. When one of these outer layers fails to bond properly, the result is a coin with one copper-colored side and one normal silver-colored side. A 1967 dime missing its obverse-clad layer sold for $78,000 in 2018, and another missing both layers, revealing the copper core on both sides, reached an astonishing $96,000 at Stack's Bowers. These coins are immediately eye-catching, and their unique color contrast makes them stand out from every regular dime. Broad strike errors from 1967 also carry impressive value. A broad strike happens when the retaining collar that shapes the coin's edges fails, allowing the metal to spread out during striking. The result is a slightly larger, flat-edged coin that looks like it's been stretched. A 1967 broad-struck dime in mint condition sold for $58,000 in 2022, while another with a mirror-like finish went for $61,500 at heritage auctions. Perhaps one of the most visually stunning types of mint errors from this year is the brockage error. In this rare mistake, a newly struck coin sticks to the die and impresses its image backward onto the next blank. This results in one normal side and one mirror image side. Only a few 1967 Roosevelt dime brockage errors have been discovered, and one particularly sharp example sold for $92,000 in 2019. Collectors prize brockage because each one is unique and showcases the minting process in a fascinating way. Die cap errors are another incredible and extremely rare variety from 1967. When a coin sticks to a die and continues to strike subsequent blanks, the repeated pressure forms a concave, thimble-like shape. These die caps are unlike any other coin. They look more like pieces of sculpted metal art. One 1967 dime die cap, still retaining clear design details on the inside, sold for $88,500 in 2020. These are considered once-in-a-lifetime finds. Even minor die cracks and die chips from this year have attracted attention. These happen when the dies used to strike coins develop small fractures, leaving raised lines or extra blobs of metal on the finished coin. A 1967 dime showing a long die crack across Roosevelt's cheek and into the word Liberty sold for $42,000, while another with a large die chip near the torch on the reverse brought in $37,500. These are smaller errors but still highly collectible due to their link to the mint's machinery and the story they tell about how the coin was made. One of the most talked about discoveries came in 2017, when a coin collector in Texas found a 1967 Roosevelt dime that appeared to be silver rather than clad. After testing, experts confirmed that it had been struck on a leftover 90% silver planchet, likely a leftover blank from the pre-1965 era that accidentally made it into the presses. That coin sold for an astonishing $148,000 at auction, proving that even small mistakes during transitional years can lead to extraordinary value. Auction records continue to reinforce the reputation of the 1967 Roosevelt dime as one of the most exciting modern coins for error collectors. Whether it's an off-center strike, double strike, missing clad layer, or wrong planchet, these coins consistently draw intense competition from collectors and investors. The prices they command, ranging from $58,000 to $162,000, reflect not only their rarity but also their historical importance as remnants of a time when the mint was still perfecting its processes during a major change in U.S. coinage. Every collector dreams of finding one of these remarkable errors in their change or tucked away in an old coin jar. While most 1967 dimes are worth their face value, a few have turned out to be treasures hiding in plain sight. It's this possibility that keeps the excitement alive, that maybe, just maybe, one day you'll spot a dime that looks slightly off, a bit misaligned or oddly colored, and realize you're holding a piece of minting history worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, the next time you come across a 1967 Roosevelt dime, take a closer look. Check for off-center designs, unusual colors, missing layers, or anything that looks a little out of the ordinary. Because what might seem like just another 10-cent coin could actually be one of the rarest and most valuable mint errors ever struck. A small piece of American history that could turn 10 cents into a fortune, with auction prices climbing as high as $162,000 for the most exceptional examples.